All right. One of our biggest opportunities is also one of our biggest potential pitfalls of where we can just spend more money than we're bringing in if we don't do it right. And that is paid ads. So, one of the most popular topics on this podcast, whenever I bring on guests to talk about paid ads is that popular topic, I should say. So I'm excited to bring on Dr. Travis Zigler to talk about paid ads. So Travis, thanks for coming on.
Kevin, thanks for having me on. Excited to be on and excited to share some value with your audience.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about PPC, and this PPC is like almost like politics in a way. It seems like, people can get very passionate about campaign structures or how they do things. But like most things in life, I think it's good to be open-minded and to hear other people's perspectives and just find those little key golden nuggets and say, okay, what can I incorporate into what I'm doing? Or just say, maybe what this person's doing is what I should be doing and take it from there. So, before we get into the PPC, like how did you even get into the whole world of Amazon and
Well, you teed me
e-commerce?
up to just like go on my rant about Amazon PPC because you said it's all controversial and everything, but we'll go back in the backstory here a little bit more. So,
Okay,
um,
we'll get to the controversy here in a moment.
my wife and I are both optometrists, so we're both eye
Hmm.
doctors. Graduated in 2010 and 2011. We practiced for about 5 years, and then we actually we did the three things you're not supposed to do.
Okay.
We quit our jobs. We
Mm.
moved across the country from Ohio to South Carolina, and we started two practices to be more precise. And
Okay.
whenever you start a new practice, at my old practice, I worked for my uncle. It was a great job, but it was a job. And I would see patients every 15 minutes, and I was busy all the time.
Hmm.
And when we went to this new practice, I saw a patient every hour. And that's all we could because that's all we had because we just started out practicing. And
Mm.
so a course came across my desk called Amazing Selling Machine, not
Okay.
literally across my desk, more across my email inbox.
Right. But it was
And
on your desk at the time.
exactly. So I bought Amazing Selling Machine as an opportunity to do something part-time off online, but not brick and mortar is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Your online was your side hustle, basically.
Exactly. So we wanted a side hustle that could make us about $12,000 a year because every year, part of being on my team, this is my brick and mortar team, was that we'd take you on a mission trip with us every year to Jamaica and
Oh,
we'd pay
cool.
for everything. And so you'd give eye exams down there, give glasses and everything. So we needed about $10,000 to take the whole team to do that, flight included and everything. What we didn't know is this would blow up a little bit more than that, and it would allow us to retire from practicing about 2 years later. So in 2017, we sold our practices after, following Amazing Selling Machine. We started out as a sunglass company. We pivoted in 2017 to a dry eye company. So we focus on products that will help people heal their dry eye naturally.
Hmm.
And our mission is to heal 1 million dry eye sufferers naturally. And then we use the profits for that to give to our charity. And then the charity pays for these mission trips, which we now go on 3 a year. And it is still a benefit of ours that if you work for us, that will actually pay for you to come. And, last year, not 2020 last year, but 2019 last year, we had our first team members come with us and it was a blast. We had a great time and we were down in Jamaica. And
Hmm.
so it was cool that it not only gets them to buy into our mission more, but they're loyal. They're going to be loyal team members for life. They've been with us for 3 and 4 years, and
Mm.
I don't see them leaving anytime soon because they have location freedom, time freedom, everything. So, yeah, so that's what got me into this world, Amazing Selling Machine. And now we focus on that bigger mission of healing 1 million dry eye sufferers naturally.
Wow. Wow. So how, just out of curiosity for my own understanding, how do people normally cure dry eyes? Because you've used naturally a couple times. What is the
Yeah.
normal kind of protocol?
So artificial tears, everybody's
Mm.
probably been to the artificial tear aisle and it's just confusing. There's
Yes.
just a million drops. And believe it or not, all those drops are oil based and like petroleum oil based. And
Wait, petroleum oil? Like,
yeah, like glycerol,
okay.
like all these different like lubricants and everything. And
Mm.
it's not natural. It's not healing anything. It's just covering a symptom to a bigger problem.
Okay.
And what we do is we teach you how to heal that problem naturally by decreasing the inflammation in your entire body. And then we have products that support that. So instead of using like a toxic body wash or a shampoo that has all these chemicals in it, we make a natural soap bar. And we
Mm.
have an eyelid cleanser that only has 2 ingredients. And we just have all these natural products that don't have a bunch of ingredients,
Hmm.
organic when possible. And then we also teach people through a course that's free. It's called the Dry Eye Bootcamp Challenge. It's absolutely free to listeners and free to anybody that wants to take it. And it walks you through health challenges or making one healthy habit per week for 8 weeks. And that will decrease the inflammation in your body and decrease your dry eye. But it works for anything. You could replace dry eye with high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, and it works for anything. It's just decreasing the inflammation in your body. So, and Restasis is a prescription drop, and a lot of
Hmm.
doctors prescribe prescription drops, and we don't believe in them. It's something that we just don't believe in. And there's a whole backstory of how we got into this, because we used to believe in this. I mean, we are Western medicine trained doctors, and we don't believe in
Right.
that really anymore for the purpose of like preventing disease. Western medicine is great for catastrophes like cancer, broken legs, things like that, but it's not good for basic disease management. And we explored the Eastern medicine route,
Hmm.
and because of a problem in our own life, we suffered from infertility, told we were never going to
Mm.
be able to have kids. And we went to Eastern medicine, and an Eastern medicine doctor had us pregnant in 3 months. And so
Congratulations.
completely shifted our mind. That was 3.5 years ago now. And we're expecting our third kid now. So
Oh,
um
wow.
so yeah, we went from infertility, never having kids, to having our third kid right now. So it's been a wild ride, to say the least, but it shifted our perspective. And now we focus on giving people natural products and healing them naturally through, just through using your body.
Okay. Wow. Wow. So was this kind of the route when you took the Amazing Selling Machine course and you said, I want to do Amazon? Did you decide you wanted to go this route of kind of alternative to what you were kind of taught in the practice?
I wish I could say yes, but it was absolutely, we actually just followed the course, and the course led us to sunglasses. And
Okay.
with sunglasses, just selling pieces of plastic is fun, but like, and we built that business up to about $2.5 million.
Mm.
But it wasn't fulfilling. And it
Hmm.
was just kind of a cash flow play. And I was at a conference one day, and there was a doctor up on the stage getting drilled by a panel. And this panel said, "Whose products are you selling in your office?" And he goes, "Oh, I sell this brand, this brand, this brand." And they go, "Why don't you sell your own products? You're the expert." And then it was just like, oh my gosh, because in my practice, I was selling this product for eyelid cleansing, this
Hmm.
product for eyelid cleansing, this product for a drop, this product for this. And I was just like, we need to come out with every single product that's up there as our own. And that's what started the dry eye product line. And then the infertility battle led us to just completely stop believing in what we were doing in practice and just shift completely online to teach people Eastern medicine, teach people functional medicine. And, that shift happened 2 years into this sunglass journey. And we still sell sunglasses. We still have
Hmm.
4 pairs, just because it's still a great cash flow play and they still make a
Hmm.
good profit. But we don't have to do anything for them. Amazon PPC runs itself, and they just sell themselves. And so we just kind of let those go and don't do much with them. But um, the dry eye side is our focus now. And that happened 2 years into the journey. So you never know where this journey is going to take you. And we'll get into even further developments that have happened since then, I'm
Hmm.
sure, throughout this podcast.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So you made a big swing there. So it sounded like you wanted to do the understanding of how to sell online. So it's something a little bit different than what you were doing with, um, you know, being as an eye doctor. And then you said, why don't I sell my, because now you got to get into product development, if I'm understanding this right. And so now you're saying, I want to do my own line of things. And because of your experience with the Eastern medicine, you decided you wanted to incorporate that kind of more preventative philosophy into your products that you were going to sell. Is that like the stuff it was selling in the office? Am I understanding this right?
100%. So yeah, we used to sell a product called Avanova, and we came out
Hmm.
with a competitor called Hydrate Lid and Lash Cleanser. Great 2 ingredient product, hypochlorous acid. It really helps clean your eyelids, decreases bacteria on your skin, helps with acne, blemishes, rosacea, blepharitis, which is an eyelid condition. And it just really helps with that because it helps just kind of do things. And so we took down Avanova, put our product up, went on to the
Hmm.
next product, which was eyelid wipes. Eyelid wipes we sold from AcuSoft. And so we developed
Mm.
our own eyelid wipe, and we came out with our own eyelid wipe. The next product was eye drops. We haven't done an eye drop yet, believe it or not. The next one was an eye mask. So we came out with a warm compress eye mask, which is great for your eyelids. And so we just kept going down the line of everything that we were selling to our patients that they would continue to buy like a consumable.
Mhm.
And then we just came out with our own version of it. And we tried to tweak the ingredients or tweak the product just a little bit to make it more organic, to follow those Eastern medicine practices and more that functional medicine approach. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So were you selling it on Amazon the same time that you started it in the practice, or was it concurrent, or did you start in the practice and then start selling it on Amazon?
We actually always started on Amazon first, and then it
Oh, okay.
went to Shopify, and then it would go to our practice. And we were actually using our practice for a little bit to fulfill orders, because we were only getting 10 orders maybe a week on
Hmm.
Shopify, and so we weren't that big yet. So we could do it from the practice, and I think I was doing it manually from the practice, so I could
Right.
take it off our shelf, charge it to my account from my practice to buy it with my other business, and then we just ship it out with
Okay.
everything else that goes out with the practice. So it was fun for the time being. I wouldn't do it now, but
Right.
but yeah, it
Right.
was fun.
Interesting. Okay. So now that you've got everything up on Amazon, how are you running traffic to it? And maybe this could start getting into more of the controversy of PPC.
Yeah, we'll get into the PPC controversy here in just a little bit, but the main thing that we started doing back in 2016, actually a year before we came out with our dry eye line, is we actually started building an audience on Facebook called the Dry Eye Syndrome Support Community. And
Mm,
you can go join it now just to see what we do inside of it. It's called the Dry Eye Syndrome Support Community, and I think we're just under 13,000 right now.
okay.
And this is people that have the devastating disease of dry eye. And there's about 40 million Americans that suffer from dry eye alone. And
Hmm.
so it's about 12% of the population. So if you take that worldwide, you're looking at just under a billion people that suffer from this.
Mm,
So it's a big problem that's kind of misunderstood. So we started building this audience up back in 2016 before
hmm.
we even knew what we wanted to sell. And I remember in February of 2017, so about 6 months after we started building this audience, somebody came to us and they were just like, Avanova, which is our competitor, just increased their price from $30 a month to $300 a month. Can you make this product? You're an entrepreneur. And so I looked at it, two ingredients, can't be that hard to make. So I started just trying to find a manufacturer, and we found one. And, I was on the phone call the next day with the manufacturer, the CEO from the company. They'd never done private label before. And so they're like, yeah, let's give it a try. And so we were their first private label client, and
Hmm.
it worked incredibly well. And on Amazon, we found the opportunity to go after this competitor, and we did, because they were now $300 a month and we were $20 a month. We actually started at 15, and we did Google ads to drive traffic to that listing. We did Amazon ads to drive traffic to that listing around that competitor name. And so that was a big part of driving traffic, was finding that closest competitor and just figuring out how to drive traffic from that. But then also we had built up that audience, and that audience at that time was only like 700 people, but it was
In the
700,
Facebook group.
yeah,
Hmm.
700 raving fans. And they wanted to try this new product. And it's such a good product, and we knew it was such a good product because we sold the competitor 10 times a day in our practice, and we only saw like 15 patients a day. So we sold a
Mm,
lot of it because it was so good, and people started using it, and then word of mouth starts to spread. But that initial traffic driving, we do it with our audience is so big, people just overlook how important audience building is.
hmm.
It's the hardest thing to do in business ever, but it will give you the best ROI, hands down. Back in 2016, 17, we had an email list of maybe 100 to 1,000, and we've continued to focus on that. And it's hard because when you're getting 1 to 5 emails a day, it's so discouraging. We now get close to 300 new emails a day, and our list is almost up to 100,000. While
This is for the
this
dry
is present
eyes.
day, yeah, dry eye
Wow.
sufferers. Present day now, we're up to about 100,000. We have 45,000 on YouTube. We have another 13,000 on Facebook groups, but we started out with just like 100, and it was so hard at the beginning. But once you get that momentum rolling, that's when your audience can really start to snowball. And when we launch a product now, we can sell 500 to 1,000 in the first 2 days by just giving them a discount, and it's amazing. That's with 0 reviews on Amazon. But back then, it took a lot of creativity. But even if you only have 100 people on your list, you know, always be in front of them and treat them like like royalty. We still
Uh-huh.
I still message with people in our group. I still email people in our email list back and forth because I've developed that relationship with them, and it doesn't bother me because that's the best ROI for my time, is to establish that relationship with our customers. And some of our customers have spent $10,000 with us, just one customer. Another one spent $18,000 with us. So
Oh, wow. That's a lot of eye
these can
drops.
be big relationships. It's a lot of eye drops, but we sell some other high-end
No,
stuff
I'm
too.
sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure.
But audience building is the biggest thing. And then we don't really start Amazon PPC until we have about 7 reviews. 7 reviews is kind of our number. And
Okay. Okay.
now you can get that through Amazon Vine and Amazon
Mm-hmm.
early review program. But once we get to 7 reviews, I usually get impatient, started with 2, but usually 7 reviews is when we start. And then we actually put a big discount on it. So whatever our product price is going to be, the example I get for anybody that's ever heard me before is eyelid wipes. We sell eyelid wipes,
Mm-hmm.
and we priced it at $20. And that's kind of in the higher end of eyelid wipe market.
Okay.
And when we got 7 reviews, we started PPC to it, but we put a 50% off coupon on it. And
Like
so that
the little green badge
the
that's on
green
it.
badge, yeah, you
Okay.
got it. And people are willing to give your product a try if you're going to give them a big discount.
Mm-hmm.
But price it where you want it to be priced first. And so 1997 is what we priced it at with a 50% discount. We did
Okay.
that until we got to 100 sales a day. And once we got to 100 sales a day, that's when we have reduced the discount. Now it's at 20%, and it will probably go down to 10 and then 5. I don't know what we're waiting on now to reduce it, but we're at 20% now. And, we're still selling about 75 a day. And so the goal is just to get as many people on it, of course, because it's a consumable, because they'll repeat buy it. But the other goal is to get people to try it. And so the biggest mistake I see in PPC is that people aren't willing to give a discount to their product that has 1 review that's 3 stars. And it's just
Right.
like, you have to get it into people's hands for people to
Mm.
try it, to get people to start talking about it. And so that's all we do, is we try to get it into as many people's hands as possible. And we don't ever really ask for reviews other than the request review button.
Mm-hmm.
But we start Amazon PPC at that like 7 review mark, and we have a big discount on it until sales get to that 100 sales per day, if the market will allow for that. Some of our products will never get to that high just because the market doesn't allow it. So it just depends on the market. But I hope that answered your question. I'm not sure if it did.
No, no, that was good. This was a good conversation there. So basically, you've got the, your process, if I'm understanding this correctly, that you are starting off with just get some reviews, and then start off with using Amazon's own coupons. So we're not talking about a messenger flow and giving people
Oh
100%
gosh, no.
refunds and all this. So do you find at a certain point that there's more algorithm juice in a certain percentage discount, or does it even really matter?
Kevin, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am not a data nerd. It's not my forte. I hate looking at really deep detailed data. I like looking at Amazon PPC data,
Sure.
but I look at one thing, and that's sales. And as long as sales are increasing, that's all that really matters for me. So I couldn't tell you if the 50% coupon versus the coupon code versus the full price 100% mail-in rebate juices the algorithm more. One thing that we do is on day one that we launch the product, we will actually give our best clients, our best audience members, our best customers a 100% mail-in rebate. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's not the 50% off coupon at the beginning, but that's just because they're so loyal to us and we want to reward them. And so we actually don't give them cash back. We actually give them a gift card back to our store. And so
Oh, okay.
that's something we do pretty frequently just when we launch a product. But once we get those initial reviews, then we start with the 50% off coupon. We still get up to page 1 pretty quickly. And your ads are going to be cheaper because they're going to get clicked on more because you have that
Mm-hmm.
coupon on there, because Amazon shows that coupon in the sponsored products area. And so if you see 4 products side by side, all about the same price, yours has fewer reviews, but it's 50% off, then why wouldn't you try it for 50% off? And you're buying it on Amazon. So if you don't like it, you can get a full refund. And
Right.
so it's a no-brainer for the customer that's searching on Amazon to just click for that 50% off coupon. And it works so well. And what I love about the coupon is it can't be duplicated. It can't be used over and over and over again. You can't have a runaway coupon like what happened, in the past. I've been
Oh, yeah,
at
yeah,
fault
yeah.
for
Those
that.
stories. Yep.
And they only see it once. Once they see it once, it's gone for 3 months because the coupon expires after 3 months. But once they use it, and if they come back to buy it again, buy another product again, they won't see that coupon again. So they'll buy it at full
I didn't
price.
realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
I've dabbled in coupons, but I'm not as
I love
versed in it.
coupons.
So that's interesting. I learned something today.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the biggest things is because, when we do people are like, you're crazy for doing a 50% off coupon. I was like, yeah, we break even on it, but they'll come back again in a month and then another month and they'll buy it
Mm,
for full price. And then if they get on subscribe and save, they'll never see the coupon again because they don't even go back to the listing ever. And
right.
so our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers, or 100 sales a day, whichever comes first. That's how long we'll keep that 50% off coupon on for. And to give you an example, we're at about 3,500 subscribers now. And so if you think about that, that's like 120 automatic orders per day.
Oh, well,
And as that
that's a good way to
continues
look
to
at that. Yeah.
increase, yeah, and most people are like, I'd kill to just get 10 orders per day. But
Right.
120 orders on autopilot that you don't even have to advertise to anymore, that they'll never see a coupon again. And that's the power of consumables, number one.
Hmm.
But it's also the power of getting somebody to try your product and getting somebody to subscribe, because automatic orders juice the algorithm, of course, because you're
Hmm.
making more sales. And that doesn't include, it doesn't include all the people that you're still trying to get into your ecosystem. So, I mean, I'm sorry for the people listening to this at 2x because I talk really fast when I get excited. So, but yeah, that's what we do, and it's essentially that simple. Is launch to an audience, build an audience, and then sell to that audience. Listen to what they want.
Okay. Okay. So, so we've talked a lot. We've gone in a lot of different directions here than I thought we were originally going to talk about PPC and whatnot. So we've talked about audience building, which is interesting because right before we hit the record here, I was just doing an interview with someone else who's not in the e-commerce space, but is more in the general audience building phase. And he was talking about like he had worked in startups kind of early on in his entrepreneurial career and then shifted over into the idea of build an audience to sell a product to. So we were kind of having an interesting discussion around there. So you're doing quite a bit of that. I mean, but like an email list of almost 100,000. Have you tipped over the 100,000 or is it on its
Yeah.
way?
So email list is at about 60. So
Okay.
YouTube's at 45, and then
Oh,
Facebook
gotcha.
groups
Gotcha.
at 12. So
Hmm.
it's around, like, if you total it all up, it's like 120,000.
Okay.
The Facebook group tends to be the second best. Email list, of course, is still the best, and
Right.
anybody that tells you otherwise is just wrong. And then YouTube subscribers is probably the least engaged, but it's still a high volume of people. So we still get in front of a lot of people.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So you've done all these other things that are supporting this off Amazon to support your Amazon sales, but you do have some things with like the coupons and whatnot. So let's talk a little bit about the controversy, which I think sometimes we get into, and that's campaign structure. Because a lot of us who started this, 4 or 5 years ago, were taught you start with auto and then you do a broad campaign and then maybe you promote keywords to exact or whatever the case is. But over time, it seems like that doesn't seem as effective as it once was.
Yeah. So this is a great question, and there's so many strategies out there for PPC, and none of them are wrong.
Right.
It's just you need to pick one. That's it.
Right.
Pick one and go. Because what I see most of the time is that people are following this strategy for a little while. Then they hear the little shiny object over here telling us to go a different direction. So then you try the different direction for a little while. And
Hmm.
then you try a different direction for a little while because nothing seems to be working. But the problem is you're not being persistent, and you need to be
Mm.
persistent with one strategy for a long time. And, back in, I'm going to kind of shift my story to 2019, and I was that person. That's why I can describe it perfectly.
Okay.
I would follow one strategy. I took an $8,000 course on Amazon PPC from the guy in the PPC space. And it was like a 15-hour course that had like 25 modules. And when I got done with it, I was like, is this for real? Like, how does anybody have time to do this? And I'm going to have to hire somebody full time to do this.
Oh, wow.
So I was frustrated. You know, I had been following different strategies. I tried 6 different softwares, tried 3 different agencies, and nothing was sticking. And it just was frustrating me more and more. So, you know, I was at a conference last June of 2019, and there's a presenter on stage, and she like there's this just this moment, you know, like where the heavens open up and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's it. And I was like, I grabbed my wife and I was like, that's it. And she was like, what's it? And I was like, she just explained how to do Amazon PPC. And if anybody's ever seen Cherie talk, she's a Western themed speaker. And
Okay.
so she talks in like train robbers and outlaws, and she talks in like this long metaphor. And you have to kind of decipher the metaphor. And
Okay.
so like I don't think anybody else got it, but it was just simplicity. She boiled it down to simplicity. And this is great because if you have campaigns running, this makes it so easy for you. If you're just starting out, you know, you're gonna have to do some keyword research, of course. But I'm gonna ignore the keyword research part in the beginners. I'm gonna go with people that are a little more established. But don't ignore this if you're just starting out. The 80-20 rule applies to everything in life.
Hmm.
And if you follow the 80-20 rule in Amazon PPC, you will always, always win. And it's amazing when you follow it. And what the 80-20 rule is for those that don't know it, it's Pareto's principle. 20% of your efforts produce 80% of your results. And so if you focus on that 20%, you're going to get more results. And so with Amazon PPC, 20% of your search terms produce 80% of your revenue. It's that simple.
Hmm.
So you have all these keyword campaigns. You have broad, phrase, exact, auto. And you know, the broad and phrase are going after thousands of keywords. And the auto is going after thousands of keywords and ASINs. And the exact is, of course, going after that one search term. And what happens is we try to broaden what we're going after by doing more broad and phrase and autos. But what that does is it actually dilutes your PPC campaigns, and it shifts your budget around to not go after that exact keyword. Whereas in the exact search terms, the exact search term campaigns that you're running is how you scale. And so what we do, even as our agency, but in my brand as well, is we find the 20% of search terms that produce 80% of the results, and we make a single keyword ad campaign for those that's exact match. So let's go back to our example with eyelid wipes. Eyelid wipes is an amazing search term for us. So we make one campaign that's going after that product, our product that sells for eyelid wipes. The search term we're going after is eyelid wipes as an exact match. That's the only word that's in that campaign. And the reason we do that is because we can customize the budget. We can customize the bid adjustment. So the top of search versus the rest of search versus the
Hmm.
product pages. And then we can adjust pretty much everything to customize to that search term. And with an exact match search term, those are the search terms that you scale. It's that simple. So like you have 1,000 search terms on your search term report. 200 of those are making all your sales. You need to have an exact match campaign going for all 200 of those. And the reason is because that is how you scale. Those will scale as high as the search volume that's there. And of course, if it's a lower search volume, you're only going to scale to maybe 10 to 20 sales a day. If
Hmm.
it's a higher search volume, you're going to scale to 200 sales a day to 1,000 sales a day. And so that's the strategy we follow is we always have exact match search term campaigns for those top search terms. When we did that, we were able to scale our ads to $60,000 in sales a month. But then we took it a step further. We started automating the little things. We started automating bid adjustments, and we started automating the keyword bid amounts, because that's all a mathematical formula. What we used to do is download the sheets, do the calculation, and then we'd upload it back into Seller Central. And that
Hmm.
takes a lot of time. And we found a software that does that for us. And with that software, it adjusts all that for us now. So then we can focus on expansion even more to more words. So you really need, what I want you to take from this is you need to focus on your exact match search terms, because those are what's going to drive scale. And you can find your search term report in your campaign manager. Go into campaign manager, go to reports, and then there's a search term report in there. Go back 60 days or so. I don't do today. I go back 3 days and then go back 60 days.
Hmm.
And that gives you a ton of data. And then we create those exact match search campaigns or exact match search term campaigns. And what broad, what phrase, and what auto campaigns are for is discovering. So those are all discovery campaigns. You can't really scale broad phrase and auto, and nor should you, because going back to eyelid wipes, we have that exact campaign for eyelid wipes. We're scaling that up as high as it can go. If we had a broad search term campaign for eyelid wipes, it's going to go after every single type of variation for that. It's
Hmm.
going to go after my brand competitors. So you can't really scale that. You can get a lot of sales from it, but you can't scale it. And so just the key thing to remember is that broad phrase and auto are discovery campaigns, and then your exact match are your scale ones. And so that's where you want to focus on getting that scale and increasing your presence on Amazon. So that's where our costs started coming down dramatically, and it was amazing. It was just so simple, and I hope I explained it in a way that made sense for your audience. But it's as simple as just downloading your search term report, organizing it by sales, taking the top 20% of the search terms, and then making exact match campaigns. It's as simple as that. And then adjusting accordingly up or down, depending on how far it will scale. And so that's essentially our strategy is 80-20. And it's simple. Is it the only strategy out there? No. Is it the strategy that works really well for me and my clients? It's amazing how well it works. And to give you an example, when we implemented the strategy, we went from about a 68% ACOS to a 50% ACOS down to a 38% ACOS. And we went from spending 30,000 a month to 40,000 a month with that big of an ACOS gap means that we went from like 50,000 in sales all the way up to 110 to 120,000 in sales. Well, without spending more. And so it's just been an amazing, amazing strategy for us to really implement is that 80-20 strategy around this whole thing. So I'm going to stop there, see if you have any questions, because I'm sure you do. And then we can kind of go further if we want to.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting strategy because, like I was saying earlier, it's like it was the common practice at the time was just start an auto campaign and start finding keywords. But there's so many places you can go to find keywords these days. Good software tools that do reverse ASIN searches, all kinds of ones that'll help you find keywords. So like the keyword part isn't as hard. So just to kind of digest what you're talking about, you have, just to make sure everybody's understanding, one campaign, one ad group targeting one product, right?
Yep. And one search term with one match type.
One search
It's
term, one match type. So it
one
might
word
be,
per, it's called a single keyword ad campaign.
gotcha. So your single keyword ad campaign, which is going after, which is counterintuitive to a lot of people.
It
I
is.
know more people are starting to do this maybe with their top 5, 10 keywords, but I've never really hear people talk about doing this with, you're literally doing this with all of your keywords you're going after. Am I understanding this correctly?
It is. And just a fair warning, Amazon, if you reach out to seller support, they'll say you're doing Amazon PPC all wrong. You only need to have 2 campaigns
They have
per
no idea what
product.
they're talking about. Yeah, they'll just tell you start an auto campaign and put everything in it.
Yep.
So yeah, I've come to find I'm almost scared when I get the email from Amazon that a PPC expert has set up a campaign and draft status, and all I have to do is go in and turn it on. Because anytime I've ever done that, it's just been a train wreck. Nothing against the people at Amazon. I'm sure they're all well intentioned, but they don't have the same perspective.
Exactly. So yeah, and there's a place for auto and broad and phrase, like I said, with discovering new search terms then scale. But this, and I know some of your listeners are probably thinking, you probably have a lot of campaigns then. And yes, we have about 3,300 active campaigns. And that's where the automation comes in. So finding a software that really helps you out with that. There's a lot of them out there. Like I said, I tried 6 before I found one that I was happy with. And it makes the job easier because it does all the minor adjustments of keyword bids and your bid adjustments and budgets for you based on math, because that's all those are, is based on math. And we used to do it in a spreadsheet manually, and now we can do it with an algorithm and a software that does
Right.
it for us.
So just to kind of help people understand the concept here, you've mentioned a couple of times that you had a spreadsheet. Like, without, you don't have to get into like, VLOOKUP or, the actual functions, but kind of just walk me through, like, what is the basic math you would use to optimize a campaign?
Oh boy. So you're asking me to reach back into my archives of my own memory, because it's been like a year since I've done it. So, it's very simple. I may have to like get the blog post for you and put it in the show notes to get it
Okay.
exactly, but it's a combination of your cost of goods sold or your profit margin. And so let's say I'm selling a $30 item and my profit is $16 on that. And so you need to do that. I think it's times your cost per acquisition. I'm sounding like a complete fool here because I haven't done it in so long and my spreadsheets always did it for me. So it's a combination of your cost per click, your cost per acquisition, and then that will give you your keyword bid that you can bid on. Because what you're doing there is
Right.
you're essentially you're calculating how many clicks it takes to make a sale, and then how much you have to spend in order to be profitable. And so what you're doing is then you're putting your bid at your break even point. And so the exact formula, I can get it to you after the show, because I'll mess it up if I try to do it off the top of my head.
No, I get the general concept, because at the end of the day, we're just taking variables and we're just doing the algebra. But
You got it.
basically, you're figuring out almost kind of like, theoretically, the next click, what is your average revenue going to be over time if like the next 100 clicks is the same as the last 100?
Exactly. So you're just using the ratio of your like how many clicks it takes to make a sale, and then how
Mhm.
much money you have to be able to support those clicks to make that sale. And so it's pretty simple. I actually just found my blog post that I have on this, so I'll send it over to you after we're done, so viewers or
Yeah.
listeners can go click on that. So you're essentially calculating your maximum cost per click
Mhm.
as a result. So I have it right here. Okay, so you're going to take your clicks to order ratio. So how many
Okay.
clicks it takes to make an order.
Mhm.
And
So basically
then
your conversion rate, in a sense,
exactly your
just
conversion rate.
phrased slightly differently. I got you.
And then you're going to take your maximum cost per acquisition, which is essentially your profit. And
Okay.
so whatever your profit is for that product. And then what you do is you take your cost per acquisition or your profit divided by your clicks to order, and that will be
Mhm.
your max CPC.
Okay, that makes sense. So theoretically, if you're selling a product for $20 and you're making $6 of profit after paying for the product and Amazon fees and whatnot, and if it takes, if you have a 10% conversion rate, theoretically, that would be 60 cents you could spend on a click to break even using
You
just
got it.
quick math. Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Okay. So from there, this is your starting point. So you're starting out with basically break even. Am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah. I always like to start out with break even. You can actually shift that depending if you want to profit or if you want to lose.
Okay. Yeah, because especially in the beginning, you can lose and still gain because you're priming the algorithm, which you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't necessarily be if you were doing Facebook ads. But if you're doing Amazon ads, Amazon sees, oh, they purchased for eyelid wipes, so let's show this organically. And so it helps your ranking. So, okay. So now once you've got it up there, like, how are you optimizing it? Like, what are you doing to kind of make this profitable? So hopefully you go from maybe a 40% ACOS to a 35% ACOS.
That just comes with time. And I truly believe that, because when you're just starting out with a product, it's not going to be organically ranked. And so
Hmm.
what you're going to do is, you don't really do that much differently. I don't do that much differently. The main thing I do at the beginning is I don't go after the big keywords. So eyelid
Hmm.
wipes is a big keyword. It's a huge keyword. It gets a lot of searches. What we went after first was eye wipes for people. Yes, that was a search term that we discovered, and we go after what are called long tail keywords. And
Hmm.
long tail keywords people have probably heard about in the Google world. In the Google world, it's, eyelid wipes would be a short tail keyword. A long tail keyword would be eyelid wipes for people. And so Google, you have these long strings of words. That's called a long tail keyword. In the Amazon world, a long tail keyword is simply something that gets a lower search value that still
Hmm.
applies to your product, that isn't that competitive.
Hmm.
And so I use Helium 10. I don't know what you use for keyword research, but
Hmm.
when I'm researching, eyelid wipes could get 100,000 searches a month, but eye wipes for people gets 1,000. And so we find this combination of a bunch of these keywords that are getting about 1,000 clicks, or excuse me, 1,000 searches a month, and
Hmm.
we go after about 20 of those. and we'll, calculate our maximum cost per click, and we'll go after it with those 20 search terms or keywords. And, we'll do broad and we'll do exact. We don't really use phrase too much. Sometimes we'll create phrase at the beginning, but we usually just do broad and exact. And that's just because in my mind, broad and phrase are kind of going after the same thing. It's starting to change a little bit with Amazon because they're starting to turn into more of like a Google broad. Google broad is more like if I type in Visine, I'm going to show up, or if I type in eye drops, I'll show up for Visine. And it's just like I'm bidding on eye drops, but I show up for Visine because Google knows that those are related. Amazon's starting to do that too. So I think broad will change in that sense over the next year or so. But that's what we do. So as we're climbing up or going after those in broad and exact, we then start to get and mine keywords. So we'll do that search term report every single month, if not every 2 weeks, especially when we have a new product. And in that search term report, new search terms will pop to the top, and then we move those over to exact, and then we make broad as well out of them because we're starting to discover more. Now, I recommend not going up too much in the discovery mode if you don't have the budget to do so. Focus on your budget. If you have a limited budget, make sure you're doing the exact campaigns because you don't ever want those to run out. And so as we're optimizing, as we're bringing in new search terms, we're doing a search term report again, getting more keywords, and that just snowballs over time. So eventually, one of our products, you start out with 20 search terms. Now it's got over 2,000 search terms that we have in exact match campaigns because we've just mined that many. And then as you continue to mine, some of your old search terms might drop off because competition comes in and you can no longer afford to go after that search term. And so you just have to continually optimize this whole flywheel, so to say, to just keep finding new search terms over and over again. And, all the work is up front. All the work is up front in discovering those good keywords in your keyword research to go after at the beginning. And, you can start an auto campaign if you want to give all control to Amazon, but I don't like to.
Right.
Auto campaigns are my late stage strategy. I like to do those usually towards the end of this because I like to stay in control. And auto campaigns are starting to get a little better because they're giving you more control over ASINs to target, or not to target, but ASINs to negative and everything. Right. But autos are still under the control of Amazon. And so they can really hurt you. And I only recommend having an auto campaign if you have a good negative list to start out. And you create the negative list at the same time you're doing your keyword research. And that's just really going to help you out as far as saving you a lot of money and saving you a lot of time later on. But it sounds incredibly simple because it is. You find your initial keywords, you then just keep mining the search term report to find more and more and more search terms and get those into exact campaigns and scale them. It's really that simple.
Okay. Yeah. So the general concept makes sense. I think the question some people are going to have is, okay, what if I sell t-shirts and I have on a listing, I have color size variations. So maybe they have 5 different colors and 6 different sizes. So there's 30 SKUs on this listing. How would you structure it in this way?
Yeah, that is a great question. And we have some clients that do this as well. The best thing to do is to go after the main variation. So do a detailed product report or like a sales report. Find which variations rise to the top and only go after that variation. Because when somebody gets onto that listing for that variation that's the best seller, if it's a size example, they're going to find their size. That's easy to do. If it's a color example, they're going to find a color that they like. So we sell sunglasses. One of our sunglasses used to have 5 variations. I actually think it does still have 5 variations, but we're selling out of 3 of them.
Okay.
And it's a brown pair, a black pair, a black with purple lens, black with pink lens, black with blue lens. We used to advertise for all of them, but 4 of them, the products would lose money from the advertisements. So one of them naturally rose to the top, and that was the brown pair. So all we do is drive advertisements to the brown pair. And, during peak season, we sell 50 to 100 a day in that brown pair. During not peak season, like winter, we sell about 2. So it's a very seasonal product.
Right.
But the brown pair makes up most of the sales, But as a result, those other 4 variations get about 10 to 30 sales a day
Hmm.
because people come for the brown pair and then they go down and look at all the other ones. But you only want to be advertising for that main listing or that main variation. There are certain cases that can be the exception, but from my experience over multiple clients and even in my own brand, that seems to be the best strategy, is just to go after that main variation and then let them find their size or color from there.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I guess if you think of it, it's almost like if Best Buy had doorbuster deals or something like that. They're trying to get you in the door, and then maybe the Nintendo gets you in the door, but then you end up buying something else. So it's like you're kind of doing that on a more niche micro level with your listing if you have something that has a lot of variations and things of that nature. So just to kind of wrap this up here, any other controversial thoughts you have on PPC and how to manage it?
I didn't get as crazy as I thought I would get. I'm a little disappointed in that, but the key thing is my strategy isn't the only strategy.
Hmm.
It's just kind of the one that my team and I developed over the course of a lot of pain points over the last 2.5 years. And the key thing with it is find somebody you know and trust and follow their strategy.
Mm.
And don't worry about everything else that is going on, because I have friends, I have an Amazon PPC mastermind,
Hmm.
and, you know, 3 of them, there's like 10 of us in the group, and, half of us have agencies, the other half don't. And we all follow very different strategies.
Hmm.
And our agencies all are successful. We all have multiple clients. It's not just like a 1 or 2 off client type agency. And we all use different software. And
Mm.
so, there isn't one strategy, but I will say this: just make sure whoever you follow, you trust, get to know them, reach out to them, ask them questions, ask me questions. I don't care. Join our Facebook group, but follow that strategy. And the reason we came out with our information is because I am not that Amazon PPC statistic guru. It's something that I love to do because it helps my brand, and then others ask me to help them out. So that's why we developed our agency. Um, but I do what I do in my brand for everyone else. And I wanted to keep it at that kind of level where everybody could understand it. And so that's why, you know, it's very hard to train somebody in Amazon PPC, but
Hmm.
I'm not that PPC statistician that came out with the 15-hour video course. I still can't believe I went through that whole thing. But and it wasn't that it was bad, it was just way over my head and most heads. And so it would more confuse people. And make sure you understand what you're going through and make sure you understand the strategy
Mhm.
and just follow that one strategy. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. There are so many different strategies. And if you try to do more than one, you're going to fail. And that's the reason. But if you're persistent with one strategy, like we've been for the past 18 months, you will succeed. And it's just a matter of being persistent. And that's where most entrepreneurs go wrong, is they're not persistent in anything they pursue. And the successful ones, the really successful ones, are persistent. So my brand does 3 things well: we create content, we build our audience, and we do Amazon PPC. Those are the
Mm.
3 things that we do on a consistent basis, on a weekly, if not daily basis. And that's why we've been able to build our audience, to build our blog following, our blog visitors, and to build our PPC to scale like it has been. And so just stay persistent with one strategy and, just stick with it. And I'd love for you to follow our strategy.
Awesome. Well, if somebody wanted to learn more about your strategy, where would they go?
So we have a group on Facebook and a YouTube channel. The
Okay.
group on Facebook and the YouTube channel are both called Amazon PPC Pros. And then our agency website is profitablepineapple.com. We're the Profitable Pineapple Ad Agency. We did that name because we love our mission work and we do our mission work in the Caribbean, which made us think of pineapples. So
Oh.
that's why we named it Profitable Pineapple Ad Agency. The cool thing about, if you go to profitablepineapple.com, we have a free course, and we recommend the free course if you're doing about under 25,000 per month or less, because it's the best ROI. It's free, obviously, and it's going to take more of your time because it's more of a manual process. But it will still allow you to scale, and it will teach you how to scale. And then once you get to 25 and above, we recommend we have a paid course in Mastermind. That's going to teach you more of the automation. Now, with automation comes software fees. And so you're going to have to be able to invest in the software as well. And so that's why we recommend to get the best ROI on it if you're doing over 25. And then for the agency part of it, we actually don't work with anybody doing under 50,000, again, because it's an ROI standpoint. We want what's best for you. And we look at it from an ROI standpoint. I look at everything in my agency from my brand I love. And so everything we do in the agency is what we do in I love. And that's the course that we created as well. It's what we used to do in I love before we did the software. And then the paid course is what we do in I love right now. And so come join us, and we'd love to have you in the group. And yeah, take our free course too if you want.
Awesome. Well, this has been an interesting conversation. It wasn't anywhere near as controversial as I thought we would get,
Yeah,
but
I'm a little disappointed.
well, you wanted to a lot more on the kind of building of the list side of things than I thought we might have. So it was definitely a good conversation. So appreciate having you on, Travis.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Kevin.
Thanks.